really just being conscious, being in the moment, especially a lot of the times with the water walk, with the different circles that we had during the trip. It was all about being in the present and listening and learning. We didn't take notes because it was just that, like, it's passing knowledge through that oral tradition. So it was about being in the moment and experiencing the different things rather than always taking notes or trying to preserve everything.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to You Create's podcast, Many Different Birds, broadcasting on CJSW Radio, where we will hear authentic stories from special guests from all backgrounds and bridge the gap between non-Indigenous and Indigenous communities, with a special focus on the Canadian healthcare system. You are listening to CJSW 90.9 FM, broadcasting out of Calgary, Alberta at the University of Calgary campus radio station located on Treaty 7 land. Before we begin, I want to acknowledge the traditional territories of the people of the Treaty 7 region in southern Alberta, which includes the Blackfoot Confederacy, comprising the Siksika, Piikani, and Kainai First Nation, as well as the Tsuut'ina First Nation and the Stoney Nakoda, including the Chiniki, Bearspaw, and Goodstoney First Nations. The city of Calgary is also home to Métis Nation of Alberta, District 5 and 6. I would also like to note that University of Calgary is situated on land adjacent to where Bow River meets the Elbow River, and that the traditional Blackfoot name of this place is Mohkinstsis, which we now call the city of Calgary. We want to open up the floor to honest discussions and get a deeper insight into how we can improve our healthcare practices and work on our own biases.
So today we have a very special guest, someone who is the creator of this podcast, Nidhi. So Nidhi, do you want to introduce yourself?
Let me do my clap. Thanks for that introduction, guys. So yeah, I'm Nidhi. I'm a fourth year biomed here at the University of Calgary, and I'm really excited to be on this podcast as a guest and not as a host today.
I know you've heard, to our listeners, I know you guys have heard Nidhi on a couple of podcasts, but today our podcast episode is going to be dedicated to Nidhi's experience at Oceanwise.
So what is Oceanwise, Nidhi?
Great question. So Oceanwise is an ocean conservation nonprofit across Canada. They're based in Vancouver, and they do a bunch of different conservation and sustainability projects. And their main focus is plastic pollution, climate change, and overfishing. But they also provide really great opportunities for students to get involved, a lot of funding. So there's a lot of stuff going on.
What made you want to apply and join the Oceanwise community?
So I've always been an environmentalist ever since I can remember, and I know this sounds a little cringy, but I've been always really passionate about the environment, climate change. Climate change is real, and I saw this program, and it was actually my mentor recommended that I join it, and I was like, okay, cool. But then when I actually applied and got in, I thought, wow, this is such a great opportunity to go and stay on an island, learn from Indigenous communities, and work with people who are also passionate about the environment.
So where did you stay? When you mentioned that you stayed on an island, so where did you stay?
So we went to Manitoulin Island, and that's in the Great Lakes region, Northern Ontario.
Okay, cool. And when did you go?
May 2023.
Nice. So it's pretty recent.
Yeah, pretty recent. It was a 7-day trip. It was a lot of fun.
So during that 7-day trip, was there any memories that like popped out to you?
So many. I think it's really hard to just say this was the highlight of the trip. I think there was a lot of emotions that went on during that entire week. A lot to learn. But I think one of the things that was really, really unique was doing a water walk. So a water walk is when we go with elders and children and other community members, and we walk across the shoreline to raise awareness about ocean conservation.
Interesting. Did you do the water walk like in the morning, at nighttime? Like, was there a specific time that you did the water walk?
So we did it in the morning.
Nice.
And it was a few hours. Usually it would be longer if we had like a larger group, but we had about like 20 people. We had little children join us. We had 2 or 3 elders, and then our group.
And how was that for you?
It was really cool. I didn't know what to expect going into the water walk. So the previous day we had an elder come in to kind of explain how does it work, what are the rules. So there's specific rules to doing this water walk. It's not just a community event, it's also a spiritual event for them. So there's specific rules. For instance, we had to hold this copper pail, and there were some rules. When you were holding that pail, you had to walk forward. You couldn't look back. And for everyone in that water walk, you had to look forward, because it's about, you don't want to carry your past mistakes. So you're not looking back, you're letting go, and you're just moving forward.
Nice symbolism. For sure. Yeah.
Can you explain what the water walk in the context of the ocean conservation?
So it actually started back in 2003. An elder started it as a community project to raise awareness about ocean conservation and reducing pollution. So yeah, that's really how it started, and it just continued as an annual thing where they go around in communities and walk.
Yeah, no, I can see sometimes connecting with Earth like that. I love, the ocean scares me, but honestly, sometimes just walking in the water, just dipping your toes in the water can be it's a form of healing in a way. So did you feel like after the water walk, like healed, or did you feel different? Like,
yeah, what emotions did you feel?
Yeah.
That's such a great question. And we actually had a briefing before the water walk. The elder was telling us that many people can feel different ways. Many people have different experiences when it comes to the walk. Sometimes people just need a break because it's so like emotionally draining. You can feel really burdened. Actually, when you're holding that copper pail, eventually what you will feel is the pail getting heavier. Even though the water in that pail still stays constant, you add a little bit of water each time, but when you're walking, you might feel the pail get heavier. So that I thought was really cool. I don't think we did the water walk long enough for all of us to feel those emotions, but I definitely, throughout the walk, I felt lighter. I felt like I was able to get rid of some things in life, some burdens, and yeah, it's a very hard emotion to describe because I've not done a water walk before.
Well, I want to connect this water to health. So do you see any connection between water and health during this retreat you did?
Because you were talking about how it made you feel, and like feeling a certain way, it's attached to your well-being.
Yeah,
it's attached
exactly.
to, we all know that when our well-being is good, our health outcomes are also good. So did you, like, yeah, talking about health, do you see like a connection between even like water conservation and how that can be connected to health? Because we know a lot of Indigenous communities, especially ones who are rural, they don't have clean, safe drinking water even. And so did you also learn about that more in Oceanwise when you were on your trip?
A lot of great points came up here.
Yeah.
I think we have to really think about what water symbolizes. It symbolizes cleansing and purity and all of these positive things. And it's also that feeling of when you're with nature and water, you feel kind of lighter, you feel happier, you feel more connected. And we can look at well-being and health in two ways. We can look at it in terms of mental health and well-being and just feeling less cluttered when you're with the environment or when you're with the ocean, and then physical health. So I think especially during the water walk was aimed a lot towards that mental well-being and just taking care of yourself and making sure that you're decluttering your mind as well as like cleansing your body. So 2 things there. Yeah, and your second question was about ocean conservation efforts in Indigenous communities? Yeah. So I think the focus was more to understand the Indigenous perspective of ocean conservation and the environment rather than understanding conservation efforts done by the community. And the water walk is something that is a conservation effort in itself.
Yeah, and so while you were there, what, Indigenous nation were you with?
Oh yeah, the Anishinaabe.
Nice. And did you learn, other than the water walk and the teachings you learned in the water walk, were there other teachings that you participated with community members, with elders, people in the nation?
Yeah, so we had actually a singer come in and she taught us the water song. Oh, I wish I remembered it, but we sang this song throughout the water walk. So it was such a really nice experience, being able to sing that song with other people and harmonize our feelings and emotions through sound. And she really talked about the importance of sound and how that's important for your health and well-being.
So do you remember our podcast with Elder Carrie? And Elder Carrie was talking about how our physical attributes, our physical environment can manifest into our bodies. So you brought up the fact of sounds. Sound is another thing that we don't really think about. It's something that it just crosses our mind that certain sounds can help us feel better. And so when she was talking about like the importance of sound, did that kind of hit you like, oh, like I've never thought about that? Or did you reflect on that piece?
I actually did. I connected Elder Carrie's podcast to that experience and what that specific singer was saying. And I thought, wow, it's all very much interconnected. And also in spirituality and Hindu teachings, like they also talk about sound. So I think it's just really, really cool how different cultures and religions kind of pick up on that one thing.
Mm-hmm. Talking about sound, we were just talking about brain waves and gamma waves, so that was interesting. I just wanted to ask, what ocean conservation efforts are the local Anishinaabe people implementing in their communities?
I would say the water walk. The water walk is definitely one of the bigger ones. And really just educating the people that go to Manitoulin Island. Really educating them about the significance of water, the water walk.
Was there a role the water plays in traditional healing practices used by Anishinaabe people?
That's a good question. So the Anishinaabe are water protectors, so the water is really important for them. And just looking through their lens, when they're looking at water, they look at water as a spirit, as a living thing, as something that gives knowledge. So that's as much as I can say about their perspective. I'm not an expert on this. I
think that's really interesting because as just a commoner, I guess, like we just look at water as it's just water. It's in our bodies, it's important, we need it. Without it, we don't survive. But it's interesting to see water, as you said, as like a spiritual thing, as like a living thing, essentially. Like it's something bigger than just it being one of the four elements.
Right, but if you think about it, like our body is about like 71% water, right? Yeah. So it is, in a sense, a life-giving force, and like you can't survive without water. Like the max someone can go without water is about 3 days. So it's very, very important. So thinking about it through that lens really makes you feel grateful for the water that you have.
Did you change your perspective on what water is to you, to the world, to us?
After the trip?
Yeah.
I would say so. Definitely getting that different lens and perspective really helps. I wouldn't say raise awareness, but it makes you more aware of the fact that water is so important.
Yeah. How did your mindset change from before and after?
You can think about it.
Yeah.
I think just being conscious, really just being conscious, being in the moment, especially a lot of the times with the water walk, with the different circles that we had during the trip. It was all about being in the present and listening and learning. We didn't take notes because it was just that, like, it's passing knowledge through that oral tradition. So it was about being in the moment and experiencing the different things rather than always taking notes or trying to preserve everything like that.
Yeah, I get that.
Were there any moments during the trip that surprised you or challenged you?
The water walk, I bring that back because it was actually very emotional. Like, I know I'm just saying, oh, we were just walking across the shoreline, but having that spiritual kind of element to the entire water walk was very emotional for a lot of people. I know I cried. Like, it was such a deep emotional thing. Or even our circles with our elders, when the elder was briefing the water walk the night before, I cried. Like, I felt really, really emotional. Maybe it was just the things she was saying, maybe it was the way she was saying it, but I felt really connected to the elder, the circle, the other people, the water walk, the pail, so many things that night.
With your interactions with the elders, what did you specifically learn?
So much.
Yeah,
I think
can't imagine.
that summarizes this podcast. Just, there was so much learning. Elders have so much knowledge. Like, I encourage all of you, if you ever have the chance to go into a circle and speak to an elder, please do. Even if it's just here at the University of Calgary, if it's somewhere else, they just have so much to share. You just need to ask. They love sharing and telling stories. But I think it was a lot about the culture. The elder talked about why is a smudge important. And we do a lot of smudges these days. Like, you probably see smudges at different events that you go to. They try to open with the smudge. But I can talk a little bit about the smudge if you guys want.
Yeah, because we've participated in a smudge. We did a smudge, all of us, as a podcast. And I remember how light I felt after it. Like, I'm a very big overthinker. I just stress myself out. I'm very used to it. But I remember after the smudge, like, it just felt like someone took this like massive brick off my shoulders, and I felt like I could breathe finally. Even if that lasted for like maybe just the rest of that day, it just felt good to feel like that, even if it was for a couple of hours.
Right. Yeah, we started every single day with the smudge, that entire trip.
So 7 days.
7 days, yeah. It was such a great experience. It's really, what it's doing is it's cleansing your mind, what you hear, what you say, and it prepares you to be open-minded, to take whatever is said in that circle. So that is the purpose of a smudge, to come in with an open mind, ready to learn.
Nice. And so, besides the water walk, were there other activities that you participated in during those 7 days?
Yeah, so we had workshops every single day. We also went to this one place where we got to plant trees, and I thought that was such a beautiful experience, to go to a new community and get our hands dirty and just really help clear the land a little bit too. So we planted trees. We also got to clear the land. We saw turtles. So that was fun. That was really fun. What else did we do?
You should have raced the turtle.
Yeah. I should have.
It would have won, though.
It would have won, yeah. The story, right? Yeah.
So as like an environmentalist, how did it feel getting your hands dirty and actually being one with Earth, getting into Earth, like how did that make you feel?
Always my safe space has been within nature, between mountains, trees, lakes. So every time I feel cluttered, a walk will help. A walk in the park, which is the closest thing we get here in Calgary. But I love my retreats, just going somewhere rural I love camping. So I love camping, hiking. So whenever I'm feeling a little cluttered, that's what I'll do. So, but planting trees, that's another thing I will recommend everyone to do. I think being able to give life to something that's small, like, I don't know. It's such a good experience.
Did you feel like you were in your habitat?
I did.
Yeah.
So from the Oceanwise, I guess like the program that you joined, I know you did like a project. So do you want to speak more about your project?
Yeah, for sure. So Oceanwise, so the program I did was Ocean Bridge, and the one I'm in right now is Eco Action Accelerator. So they have a bunch of different programs where students can apply for grants. The project that I did was called the Aquativity project. It's something we're still doing, and what I'm doing is creating sustainable outfits out of recycled material, and we have our show coming up in February. So if you hear this podcast before then, come by. Yeah. Watch our show.
Do you want to talk more about like where did that inspiration to do that project, where did it come from? What do you hope to do with it? I know you want to do a fashion show, but like at the end of it, what do you want like the biggest like takeaway from that project to be?
The whole point of the project is to raise awareness about overconsumption. I feel like we live in a world where we always tend to consume things, buy things all the time. We feel like we need everything new, brand new and perfect. But why can't we just take the clothes that we have and repurpose them and put them to good use? I think that's something we're not super aware of all the time. And I think as a community, we need to be more aware of the choices that we make when it comes to buying things.
Like fast fashion.
Fast fashion, exactly.
Yeah, no, because Shein, for example, fast fashion, everyone buys from Shein. Shein has like influencers who promote Shein. And I've seen how the quality of the material isn't even good. We know who's making the clothes, but we still continue to buy the clothes. And it's not something that we can get mad at society for doing, because we know with inflation, it's hard to even buy groceries. And so we always go for something that's cheaper. But like through the fashion show, I know I'm actually a part of the fashion show, just for the listeners. Yes. So thank you, Nidhi, for giving me that opportunity. So I'm actually one of the designers for the show, and I've always loved designing, and I'm so grateful that you came to me for this, like with this opportunity, because I've just always thought I wanted to do this, but put it at the back of my list because I never had anything to do it with. So thank you so much for letting me actually use my creative outlet and putting it to good use. So I'm really excited. I'm so excited.
So Nidhi, in your view, how can individuals and communities worldwide contribute to ocean conservation efforts? So drawing inspirations from your experiences and insights gained.
I think it depends. It depends on the individual. It depends on the community and the location they're in, because the issues can present themselves in different ways depending on where they live. But I think we can all make small efforts. I know this problem seems like it's too big for one person to handle. That's what eco-anxiety feels like, right? And that's another goal of this project, is to reduce eco-anxiety. But I think what individuals need to do is just to be more aware of the decisions that they make. Like, do they really need to buy a new pair of jeans? You know, for instance, like, do you need 10 pairs of jeans? Probably not. So it's just being more conscious of the decisions that they make on a daily basis, whether that comes to their clothing, their food. They do predict that in the next 10 years we'll have a food shortage, and
I've heard that.
I've heard that a few times this week, actually. So that made me feel a little anxious. But then again, it is about just those small choices that we make and being more aware of where we purchase our clothes from or other items.
Yeah, I took a One Health course in undergrad, and they were talking about how because our, I guess, global population is increasing, and yes, there is land, but half the land that we have is we can't use it to do anything with because the soil is not nutritious enough, I guess. And because of that, like you said, we're going to get food shortages. And that makes me think that if we're going to have food shortages, are people going to genetically modify our food? The first thing. Second thing is, are we getting nutritious food? And that makes me a little bit cautious as well, because food costs are rising. So people don't tend to go to the grocery store to buy $5 bell peppers, for example, but they rather buy five $1 noodle packets that are instant noodles, because A, it's cheaper, they're quicker to eat. And so what are your opinions on the fact that like food shortages are happening, inflation is happening, that in the future years to come, we're not going to have like nutritious food? Like, did you ever like have that in your mind, or like ever thought about it?
I actually have thought about this because the Isha Foundation, I don't know if you guys have heard of them, but they've done this movement called Save the Soil, and this is exactly what they talk about. They talk about the fact that the nutritious value of our soil is going down, and therefore the nutritious value of our food is also going down. So it is a major problem, and there's not like a one solution. Yeah. But I do think it's going to be something that's going to be an issue in the coming years.
So from your trip, I know you heard a lot from different elders and community members, but is there one specific thing that maybe an elder or community member said that really just stuck with you? You can take some time to think. could be an action that they did too.
That's a hard one, but I think it's they encourage people to take a moment in their day to be quiet and to be aware. I think that's something we don't take the time to schedule within our days, but during that trip I got a lot of downtime to actually do that, whether that was during our smudge or circles. We were given a lot of reflection time to reflect on our actions, our decisions, choices. So I think that would definitely be a key takeaway, is to reflect, and you can do that any time of your day.
But it's hard. It's very hard, because we're such busy people, always trying to achieve the next, be the next, do the next. I find that you forget to just stop and just observe the leaves. I don't even think I've stopped to even watch the leaves change colors. They just passively happened. And I looked one day and I'm like, wow, the leaves are orange now. Yesterday they were green, but it wasn't like that. It was a process, but I just never paid attention to it.
You know, that's what I really, really like about Indigenous culture and elders. They take the time to observe their environment and learn from that. They learn from everything, whether that's the water, the trees, the flowers, the snow. They all have something to share.
We're always on a go, go, go mindset.
Yeah.
We don't pause.
We don't pause, and we need to pause sometimes.
I guess like the nature and the world, it's giving us signs. Like the world, like animals are, I feel like animals can predict things before humans can predict things. Like the ocean animals, like for example, they know when the ocean's health is going bad before we know. And I think that's really interesting how if we just look outside and we observe whatever is outside, it can give us the answers to a lot of things without actually having to like look into it, because there are signs everywhere. Mm-hmm. For example, climate change.
Exactly. And ocean conservation. If we've come to the stage where we're talking about food shortages, ocean conservation, and all of these issues, it means that there is a problem. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of a warning, like you said, that our health in the future is at stake. Because without food, without water, like, you know, our health is not going anywhere good.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember I watched this documentary on Netflix. It's called Seaspiracy. You should watch it. It's about like the ocean and the overfishing. And a lot of people, like I was looking into the comments after, and they were like, oh, like it's just being very exaggerated. Like this is not actually what's happening. And in my mind, I was like, well, even if it is exaggerated, maybe that's for a reason.
Mm-hmm. But is it exaggerated?
Exactly.
10 years ago, were our winters this warm? Like right now, it's kind of warm for winter.
You know what? I actually have, so in my new course, I have to do a lot of readings, and I did a bunch of readings on climate change. And one of the readings, they were saying that nowadays, some of the last days of winter are actually one of our hottest days. And I was reading that and I was like, whoa, that is very true. Because I remember back in the day in Calgary in like before 2010, snow used to be up to where I am, like my height, and I'm 5'4". Like there were piles of snow. I have never seen that big of a pile of snow ever here anymore. It's weird because just a couple weeks ago, it snowed in Calgary. It was -20. In Ontario, it was +23. It was hot. I was wearing a jacket and I was sweating. I had to take my jacket off. And it's crazy how just maybe 3 provinces away, the weather is just so drastic. And you're so right. Today, yes, it's snowing, but it's hot. And we're in November now. And it's just like if you've also noticed our winter seasons, yes, Calgary is like the whole year is winter practically. But if you've noticed, if you actually pay attention to every year when it snows, the season is shorter. Mm-hmm. We don't even get spring anymore.
Mm-hmm. I agree. Growing up, I used to wear like snow pants and scarves, and now I'm just wearing a jacket today. Like I didn't need my gloves and my scarf and everything.
I get it. Like when we get the -40, we get the -40, but it's not for a long period of time as it used to be. And I remember how bad the snow was. Like Arushi, like if you guys think about it, think about a couple years back, how bad snow used to be here.
Mm-hmm. The driving too.
Like, I feel like, yes, it's still bad, but it's not as bad. And I don't know, we can look at it as a good thing, like, oh, winter is not that bad anymore. But if you look at it as a global perspective, yes, that's bad. That is not good.
It's bad because things are about to change drastically. And I don't mean to scare people, but it's true.
I think fall started late this season as well. I have noticed how the fall season wasn't a long season. It just felt very short in my perspective. Like, I felt like fall was for 2 weeks. And it's not because of I'm busy and like I'm just go. No, like I genuinely felt like fall was for 2 weeks. And so kind of segueing into the next topic, I remember you mentioned how a lot of Indigenous communities and elders, one thing that they've taught you is to be present and in the moment. It's something that I can relate to as well. In May of this year, so 2023. May 2023. I went to a campsite, Painted Warriors. It's near Sundre, Alberta, so it's pretty rural. And I participated in like a nature walk. Never done that. But we actually have one of the guest speakers, Bridget. That's where I met her. And she took us on this nature walk and she showed us like, you know, pine cone, like pine trees, what they're used for example, the difference between the different kind of trees. We just look at one tree and I'm like, that's just a tree. But what's the difference between the trees? She taught me how one of these trees, I forgot the name, they're white. If you look, their trunk is white, and if you touch it, like you'll get like dust on your hand. Birch, I think, maybe, I'm not too sure. That can actually be used for sunscreen. Yeah, so it made me think that, you know, back in the day, the color of our clothes, we get like it's synthetic, like it's man-made, you know, the color. Back in the day, how did they get color? They got color from what was around them. They used berries, they used all sorts of things that the earth gives us. And it's just crazy to think that like the earth has given us everything and we're still looking for more things. And so in that nature walk, what we did at a point was we sat in this area and they encouraged us. They're like, if you want to take your shoes off and walk, you can do that. And I did that because I also, like you, I love connecting with the earth. I don't know if it's my earth sign talking, but I feel very grounded, and I often do walk barefoot on the grass when I'm feeling super stressed. And I remember we did that and they made us stay silent for a couple of minutes. They were like, just don't speak, nothing, clear your mind. Very hard for me to do, but I tried. And I remember there was a point where it was really windy. It was really, really windy. And the minute they said, you know, like, clear your thoughts, clear your mind, the wind stopped. And I felt that. And so after, when we were sharing, I was like, you know, I had a reflection. I'm like, when you were talking, I'm like, and then when you told us to stay quiet, I noticed that the wind stopped. And do you think you do that when you're just walking, going on about your day? We don't. And so that was one of the biggest things that I got from the retreat that I went on, that I just felt very rejuvenated. I just felt very like myself. I remember when I came back from the trip, I was very happy. I was glowing in a way. Like I felt like a brand new person. So I 100% agree with everything that you've said. Like I resonated with so many of the things you said. So thank you so much for sharing those things.
Thanks for sharing your experience too. I think
you both have really similar experiences in terms of a water walk and a nature walk.
Yeah.
It's so similar. So what are the differences?
Well, water and land.
Yeah.
But I guess like, I like how you said with like the copper
pail.
Pail. That's interesting how you felt like it was getting heavier.
I did, yeah. Yeah. And what you're actually supposed to do with the copper pail is, if you're not holding it, you can actually go and grab it from the person that has it, and then you keep walking forward. So no one is allowed to turn back or look back or walk backwards. But apparently it's a calling to like go and hold the pail.
Like it's something that comes in.
Comes in naturally, yeah. So it's not something you're assigned or told to do, where there's no like specified length of time that you're supposed to hold the pail, but once you feel like it, you should go and hold it.
I just love how all these things have such greater meanings and deeper meanings, and I'm at a loss of words because I don't know how to describe those emotions. I don't think the English language has a word to describe the emotion I felt without me going on a tangent and using all these adjectives to just describe
that
one feeling.
Yeah.
Like, I get what you mean when you were like, I don't know what I can tell you about my biggest takeaway because I don't know what to say. I felt different.
I felt very different. I don't think I never felt that way before when I was in that walk. Like you said, I just felt grounded, connected, quiet. Like, I think having moments of quiet in your mind are so rare, so rare. There's always something. Oh, I have to go schedule this meeting. Oh, I have to answer that email. Oh, I have to go here, there. What about my groceries? You know, there's always something in my mind. So
yeah, no, I get that.
Is this, would you say, similar to meditation, or was this way different for you?
In a way, it's a form of meditation.
Yeah.
I can't meditate personally because I can't sit still, because my mind can't sit still. So being able to participate in that, even if it was for like 5 minutes, was a different practice for me. And I do hope that in my future I can carry out those quiet moments in my life and practice those. I'm trying, but it is hard because, like you said, the minute I stay quiet, I'm like, whoops, I have a meeting. I need to write this in my calendar, or else I forget. Or I need to go on my phone, write it in my to-do list so that I don't forget. It's just, there's always something in my mind. And I don't know if I hate it or like it, but it's there. So it was a program. It's called Global Connect. It's by Alberta Council for Greater Cooperation, ACGC. And so the program itself was, I believe, for 12 days, but the retreat itself was for 2 days. And so over the 12 days, what we did is that we went to a bunch, maybe like 2 to 3 nonprofits, international development type nonprofits in Calgary and Edmonton. So we actually have a couple of speakers that I've met through those nonprofits who have actually been on the podcast. So for example, we have Sydney Gill, who was from Operation Eyesight. And it was just so cool to see that just in Calgary, there are so many people, so many organizations doing this like humanitarian international development work. I never thought we would have something in Calgary. Or Edmonton, for example. Like, we went in Edmonton, I think it's called the Food Grains Bank, I believe. And so they took us to one of their fields. It's in Strathcona. It's just right outside of Edmonton. And they showed us how they have these like fields, and what they do is that they grow like grains on those fields, and they take the grains and they actually send it back to like countries who are in need for those grains. And it's sustainable.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
What is this called?
Food Grains Bank, I believe. Some like Food Grains Bank, I think. And so we went in their factory as well, and they showed us like the factory mill. We took pictures with like their trucks. Their trucks are massive. We went to Islamic, believe it's Islamic Relief Aid, I believe, or mixing the words up. They showed us how much work they do. And it was just awesome to see the way that these organizations work. Some are very sustainable. And one of my biggest takeaways from just talking to these organizations and being able to ask them questions. You will never be able to talk to a CEO of one of these things, or someone who works very direct in these organizations, and got a chance to ask them these critical questions. And one thing I took away is that every single organization said is that we do not work on the communities, we work with the communities. Yeah, and that stuck with me because if you go in Western society, anytime we make policies, I feel like these policies are just made so that people can adapt to them, but policies aren't made to adapt to the person. And you're expecting a whole community to change to follow this thing, but it's like, why don't you make a thing or a policy that can just be added into the way our living is? Because how long does it take to change a person's behavior? it can take forever. It can take a lifetime. You will never be able to change someone's mindset, right? And so that was my biggest takeaway, is that we have to work with the communities. And that's something that I've learned through this podcast, where every single speaker has come on and said that we have to work with Indigenous communities and not on. Because the minute you're working on
it becomes a project. It's not a project.
It's not a project. And you're also looking at that community as something that's inferior, something that needs help, but they don't need help.
I would say it's the opposite. Indigenous communities have so much to offer. Like, just speaking to elders, knowledge keepers, singers, dancers, and all these different people that I got to meet on the retreat, I was blown away by the amount of knowledge they have about the plants that we saw, the animals that we saw. They just knew so much, and it kind of saddened me that this knowledge was just not going out of the community. I think that a lot of other communities need to learn from Indigenous communities that have lived on this land for so long. I feel like they can provide the best solutions when it comes to conservation and what we should do moving forward.
And another thing is that I find there's a lot of parallels, that if Indigenous communities share their traditions, like just with the speakers, when they're sharing like their learnings and their traditions, I feel like I can relate to them being South Asian. I'm like, wow, we practice this in our community. It might look a little different, but the foundations is the same.
I agree. A lot of the stuff on the water walk, a lot of the spiritual stuff that the elder was talking about, or when she was talking about spirituality, I really felt I could relate. Or even, you know, how you said you walked barefoot on the grass and connected with the earth. That's stuff I hear from my parents. So a lot of it, I can relate to it personally.
Yeah, there was this like one moment on the retreat where we were doing archery. So we got to do archery on like balloons at a point. And then what we did is that we went into this like foresty area, and they had these like 3D pop-ups of like a bear, a dog, and they'd be like in the middle of the tree, and we kind of had to like step back and like aim at them. And so on the camp, they have like a bunch of horses. I forgot the number of horses, but more than 5, 6, 7 horses. And I'm kind of scared of horses, to be like honest. Like I get scared of horses. And for some reason, it was this fairy tale magical moment that even till this day, if I think about it, I remember it, how I felt. So basically, I shot like my little bow thing from the archery. When I was doing it, I turned around and I look back and I see this black horse just like galloping. They gallop, right? Yes, they're galloping. And there was like 3-4 horses. I just saw their backs, and I'm like, I just turned around because I could hear them. And I'm like, oh my God, like they're right there, you know? And then so we just went on. 2 minutes later, all the horses came out of nowhere, and they were literally beside us. And the horse was putting its head on my shoulder. I took my phone out. The horse is like taking selfies with me. I was petting the horse. And I remember one of the horses' name, it was Baby Boy. And it was a fairy tale moment that like a princess is lost in the forest, and like out of nowhere, a herd, what'd you call a herd? A herd of like a bunch of horses coming out of nowhere, just surrounding the princess. I felt like a princess, but it felt very different. I've never been this close to horses. I've never even touched a horse like that, fed a horse, touched its nose, took a selfie with the horse, had the horse on my shoulder, like their head on my shoulder.
Very romantic.
Yeah, and it just...
The fact that you were scared and you still felt safe.
Yes. The fact that I never thought about that, but the fact that I was so scared, I felt very safe in that moment. And that's my biggest memorable moment from that trip, was that when I looked back and I saw the horses just come to me, it just felt very like, I didn't feel like I was on Earth. I felt like I was dreaming in a way, but it was just such a magical storybook type moment that like, I don't even know how to describe how I felt in that moment. But
is there traditional meanings behind?
They actually didn't talk about that though. They didn't say anything, but they did actually, we looked at bear hides and stuff like that. We looked at like animal bones.
You know, we did that too.
You did?
Yeah.
Okay. And so we were looking at animal bones, and then like one of the owner of the camp, basically, he showed us like how to identify different animals. And just to look at their horns and their hooves and stuff like that, and like how you can identify like this is the like deers. Like I was able to identify deers. I can't now, but I have it written down just so I could remember it after. And that was really cool, because who kind of teaches you that? No one.
No one.
Yeah. And so that was really cool to do that. And I remember Bridget actually taught us how to bead. That was really fun. And I got to do it with a bunch of my friends, people that I just met like a week ago. And I felt like I knew them for ages, like for years and years. And it was like in the middle of nowhere. It's the first time I looked up and I see the stars. And I had no internet for 2 days.
I love that. I really love that.
And it was the first time I went glamping. I'm not a camper. And it was glamping, but it was nice. It was different. And it was a nice way to just like step outside of like your reality and enter the reality.
I'm really glad you had this opportunity to connect with nature. Growing up, I always had that, so it didn't really feel new. It didn't feel different because I was in an island with strangers and all of that, and among Indigenous communities. But I'm really glad, Harveen, you went on that retreat and you got to experience those things.
Yeah, it's one of my, I'd have to say, if I reflect back, kind of like top memory, I would have to say, was like doing the program, meeting the people, going on the retreat, like learning from organizations. And it was just, I'm so glad that I did the program and that I took the time to just be like, yeah, like I'm going to fully do it regardless of how busy my schedule is. Like, I'm gonna do it.
Yeah, I've done camps too with no like Wi-Fi, no internet. So I've been doing this like 7-day week trip. So you have to hold your canoes, go do like hikes for like 10 like big kilometers, camp at one site. Next day we wake up and do the same thing over. It was a great time, and these are all new people. So I would just meet them at a random campsite. So it was like based from a program, and I think it's from Tim Hortons Foundation camp. So these are for little kids. So this was like way back in my time, but we would just go and just enjoy nature, and I love that. And there was no internet, no nothing, and I would just meet new people, learn new stuff from all these campers. It was just a great experience.
I love that. Tell me more.
Yeah, I need to hear more.
Where was this? Like in Alberta, or?
I believe it was Kananaskis.
Oh, Kananaskis is
How
beautiful.
old are you?
I think 13, 14, maybe.
Okay. You were youngish.
Yeah, I was youngish, but I felt so good. I think total we did 80 kilometers from the whole thing. But like we would just go around different campsites, like in a circle around these lakes. We would canoe, we would swim, we would have so much fun, and we would also make our own food. And it was just like make our own fire, hold every food items, and just like walk around.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Basically like a mix of a backpacking and a canoeing trip.
Yeah, it was.
Wow.
But holding the canoes was a struggle. Yeah, because we would like hold it over our heads and then walk.
Right.
As a 13, 14-year-old with no muscles.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know if I still do, but gotta go to the gym.
No, that's actually awesome. As a kid, I was very unappreciative of nature. Like when I used to go to Banff with like my parents, I'm like, why am I here? Like we say the same mountains, you go to the same place. Like, why am I here? I don't have my Wi-Fi. I have to sit here and do nothing. And reflecting back on those moments, I think back and I'm like, I should have appreciated it. Because when do I get the time to do that now?
It makes me so sad to see the kids on the hiking trails and they're just walking up the trail with their iPads, and I'm like, oh no.
You've seen that?
I've seen this way too much in the past years, and I'm like, this generation hasn't felt what it's like to be in nature. I feel like we need more remote areas where Wi-Fi is just not allowed.
Yeah. It's hard though. I feel like even when I had no Wi-Fi for the 2 days, like I was like, oh, I need Wi-Fi now. Like even if it was for like 10 seconds, like I just needed Wi-Fi. But like I feel like you don't actually need it. Like I get it for important things 100%, but why does a little kid need Wi-Fi?
Yeah, they don't need their iPad all the time, especially if they're out. Even on my retreat, we had Wi-Fi at the hotel, but I checked my screen time at the end of that week and it was maybe an hour max. Like it was so low, and that was just a moment.
When you came back to Calgary, did you just go on your phone right away, or did you keep that practice of it just being there?
I tried. We'll leave it at that.
No, that's fair. I feel like when you actually have to go back into your routine, it's difficult.
It's difficult. But I know you mentioned meditation earlier, and I think meditation is not just about sitting still in just in one place in a quiet room, but being meditative at all times and just trying to keep your mind uncluttered. That's essentially the goal, right? But it's so hard.
People connect meditation to yoga a lot.
Yeah.
I feel like.
Yeah, I love yoga.
I love yoga too, but I think there's other ways to meditate.
That's true. Maybe like meditation is like your own practice, and that can look like however you want it to look like.
You know what I always wanted to do? Just like remove all my social media for like at least a day, at least try for a day.
And just live.
Yeah. When I was actually studying for an exam, I turned off my social media, and that was for like maybe a few months.
Oh, wow.
And it was so nice. I'm telling you, it was probably the best time. But you do have to go back onto social media if you're running things, or if you have to communicate with people, with friends, with family. You can't completely cut yourself off, and that's what happened. I think over the last decade, we've become dependent on social media, not just because we need it, but not just because we want it, but we actually need it. Yeah.
That's just how life is.
Yeah.
So thank you, Nidhi, for coming on this podcast. So I had one last question for you. So would you recommend people joining Oceanwise?
110%. Their programs are amazing. Their staff is amazing.
How can our listeners join and be part of this initiatives?
Oh, Oceanwise? Yeah, you can go to their website and just go to their programs. They have a bunch of different ones, different grants that you can apply to. Some are longer, some are shorter, so it really depends on how much time you want to commit, but they're all there. They're completely funded by their Canadian Service Corps program, so they're completely funded by the government, completely free, so it's a great opportunity.
Thank you so much, Nidhi and Harveen, for joining us today and sharing your insights, especially your nature walk and your water walk. And we all enjoyed the discussion. We had a lot to say. We had so much parallels that was come up. And we also want to thank CJSW, the Indigenous Global and Local Health Office, Grandmother's Lodge at the Faculty of Social Work, the UCreate team, and our editor, Atea, for helping us with this podcast.
And so thank you, Nidhi, for coming. This was a really nice opportunity to reflect on my own program, learn about your program, talk about things that I don't think we ever talk about just in our common, like when we talk and say, like, we have our conversations. Give me a chance to reflect. So I really appreciate that. And lastly, thank you to everyone who tuned in. And to listen to the full episode, tune into Apple Music, Spotify, or cjsw.com with special guests. And for this episode, your 3 favorite hosts, Arushi, Nidhi, and Harveen. So keep a lookout for the next episode. And until then, stay warm.
Bye.
Bye-bye.